Hello, everybody out there. This is Andrew Jensen. I'm Andrew Jensen, manager here at the BowlerSmart Cherry Valley Pro Shop for BowlerSmart. We are coming to you live once again for our tips and topics of the week with Coach. Last week we were able to discuss a few things. Obviously, a little intro to who we are, basically a little bit of our background, and then also open up the floor just a little bit for some small discussion of topics that you'd want to maybe see in the future weeks to come, and we still will probably do that at the end of this at some point. What we're doing this week is what we discussed from last week is we're going to discuss what a beginner bowler goes through with Coach, and I'm going to actually pan it back over to Coach here to ask him that question. As we are here in the shop this morning at the Cherry Bowl. Pan this back over to him. Hi, Coach.
How you doing?
How are you this morning?
Doing great.
Awesome. Hey, we're here for the live feed with the question and topic, tips and topic of the week. What you go through for that beginning bowler when you have a beginning bowler may never have either joined into bowling ever, or wants to get better, decided that it was something that they wanted to get into because their family or somebody that they had been friends with. What do you do? Why don't you take us through what you do to try and help them out in their game?
Well, AJ, that's something that I've done for many, many years, and it's one of my favorite lessons and the type of lesson that I want to give and have the bowler get into our sport. So I sit them down and talk to them about what they want to do. Do they just want to have fun? Do they want to bowl just with their buddies? And let them tell me what the process of what they want to do. So when I'm out there in the lesson, obviously we have to get them the right weight ball, go through that idea of what we have to do. Either, the 10, 12, 13, 14 pound ball, or maybe just a light ball for the kids. But once I've gotten that ball in their hand, generally, of course, we're going to have the conventional grip. And then I'm going to take them out on the lane, AJ, and go through what we need to do as far as, in my opinion, starting with the steps. I've always been a coach that likes to start with the feet and work myself up. So, as a lot of you coaches out there do, I'm going to take them to the foul line and do a walk back, about 3.5 steps for a 4-step delivery. But I'm going to get them into that idea of where they need to stand on the approach. Go through there. Then we want to know where they're going to stand left or right. Of course, if they're the type of bowler that really wants to throw the ball hard, you see the guys and will throw the ball with a lot of speed. But in most cases, I'm going to do that, teach them the basics of where to hold the ball. They're brand new. They really don't know what's supposed to happen with the position of the ball, right, up and down, left and right, how to put it in their hand comfortably and do that. So once I got them out on the lane, teach them that, and then get them into the process of understanding where they want to target out on the lane. Got to go through that. A lot of times I will take them out on the approach in the foul line and explain, AJ, to what the lane's about. Yeah. A lot of beginner bowlers, they don't have any idea as to what they're doing. A lot of beginners, I say, well, where do you look? I say, I look at the pins. And I say, well, the pins are 60 feet away. A target's got to be a little bit better. And a lot of you experienced bowlers know this, but you'll be surprised how many of my beginning bowlers, they don't have a clue as to our environment. Right. Or don't go over the foul line. We have oil on the lanes. Let them know what the sport's a little bit about, because they don't know. You're right. They come into the bowling center. They have no idea. So you have to really dial down and do that. But this is what I do. Get the physical game lined up, where they stand, where the ball is. We got the right weight, and take them into that level of what they want to do.
Awesome. Yeah, and so I would say that you, as anybody knows, you've seen so many different bowlers. I'm sure like all the coaches out there that have gotten some experience like you have would know that every bowler is a little different, even in the beginner bowler. I would think that your personalities are a little different. Everybody kind of takes things a little differently. Do you ever feel like you have to find different ways to kind of describe things to people? Is there anything like that as far as how to approach the game? If they don't quite understand it, is there any other explanation that you have to give in order to get them to understand how to approach the foul line and all that kind of stuff?
Well, you've got different personalities. You've got the type that they're going to ask a million questions. Their brain's working where they got to be, what do I do now? Why do I do that? Why do I go here? What's this all about? Then you got the laid back, or the ones that they're going to tell me what I need to do. It's just they're that type of individual. But yeah, you're right. I have to look at the personality, see what they want to do, and go from there. It's that process that I always go through. You're right.
We do actually have a question here, I think, if I'm understanding it correctly. Ryan Downard, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says, me, myself, I love to look at arrows for my target and move it forward or backward from there. Is that a good idea or plan?
Oh, that's a great plan. If you look at the arrows or give them a marker somewhere, like I said, and look back to the foul line, then you're going to get a target system that's a lot better, the direction that you want the ball. And even though we're talking about the beginner bowler, I think the next tip we'll do is looking at the pins and maybe do a three-point targeting system that I work on. But generally, yeah, you want to look at those rangefinders and draw you a line in your mind.
Great, that's awesome. It's good that we had a question so quickly.
Thanks.
What else do you want to go through here, Coach? The beginning bowler, obviously there's plastic balls, T-zones,
Oh, yeah.
maxims, there's white dots, there's all kinds of different varieties of the beginning, just entry level, go straight kind of ball. What would you try to maybe gear them towards when they come into here? I mean, they're going to be, you talked about them being in a conventional grip. Are we going to be talking about the T-zones? Obviously, I can help a little bit with this question in some fashion, but if you have a suggestion or thoughts of what you feel like you go through when that person actually is in a point where they're going to buy a ball or try to get into this to where they have their own ball,
Right.
What do you go through?
Well, it depends on what they really want to do, AJ. They just want to stand there and throw the ball straight to the head pin, conventional grip.
Definitely.
I'm happy. Don't worry about the big ball, big hooking ball that I see all my buddies do with these rubber grips in here. And they don't understand that. There's two processes that I do. Whatever they want to do. And just like you said, we'll take them over here into a polyester T-zone, talk to them about the grip. No, you're going to be the expert, Mike, over at our shop at Don Carter Lanes at BowlerSmart. So I'll look at this, see what we've got to do, talk about the weight and the style. Then, after the interview, they'll tell me, this is pretty cool. I think what I want to do is maybe get a little bit more of that hook, a little bit more something to help knock the pins down.
Yeah, definitely.
So they may not want to go here. And over the years, I might take them into another level ball, which would come over to here. AJ, and you got a Rhino and you got different ones, and I'll explain to them the difference, the covers, and they have what we call the core on the inside, get them a little more inclined to that. So you can explain some of these balls we have in our shop, AJ.
I'm going to try and keep it as simplistic as possible. Realistically, a beginning bowler that comes in, just like Coach said, generally they will go towards the T-zones that we were just kind of focusing on here a few minutes ago. Any more, though, too, I have to go through a series of questions when they come in the shop and really care about, you have to care and show them that you care, that you are trying to get them in the best potential ball you can have them in the future. To me, the Rhinos from Brunswick, the Hustles from Rotogrip, the Nitruses from the 300, Columbia 300, those are all going to be great. I know all brands have their own little beginning spectrum of ball that they like to use for this idea. Here at BowlerSmart, we carry a few of these types of brands here, basically, and a few more. We can usually get those, but generally this is where you would need to tell the bowler, especially if it's specific to the idea of going from a T-zone idea instead of this, and say, if you do this, you're going to get a little bit more hitting power because there is a core in it, especially if you're in that 12 pounds and above potentially. Just kind of have to gear towards the bowler themselves to just really feel that out. But, this is going to be the entry-level hook potential that we would probably gear people towards.
And one thing a lot of times is most important, and we forget about, they got to have the right color.
Right, yeah, color's a big thing.
Particularly over here, but that's always something I hear too. A little bit of fun, but you'll be surprised.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, like we discussed here before we even went live, we do have, at BowlerSmart, I'm sure that some other pro shops around the United States have their own version of package deals. So when a bowler that's beginner comes in, and they just want to get that T-zone or they want to get a Maxim or whatever the case may be, we've got the beginning bowler package where they get that ball plus a bag and some shoes. And then the same thing goes on with like the Rhinos or the Nitrus or the Hustle. Those balls can all be added into a reactive. And we like to separate those out. The T-zones are more of a bowl to have fun kind of package, and The the rhinos or the hustles or the nitruses are more of that bowl to get better package, so to speak. So
Right.
and I know everybody's got their ways to get there.
Yeah, everybody out there, all you shop operators have your system of how you want to go about it, but hopefully this is the process that I like to do and go into that. And we didn't talk much about it, but when you get into this, AJ, we like to talk about the grip. And you and I want to educate them about the conventional. For a lot of you don't know, you're brand new bowlers out here that might be watching this today. Conventional grip, like the house balls, go into the second knuckle. And you believe it or not, a lot of people don't know what these inserts are. All of us experienced bowlers, right, know that. And you're going to explain that, give them the idea of how that works in order to get the rotation and the spin. So the process is to bring them in here and talk to you. Grip, balls, surfaces, cores. Sometimes they get overwhelmed, but you try to simplify the process as much as we can.
Definitely. We do have a couple more people that are actually saying a few things. Ryan Downard is, I have a bowler that comes to me for advice on ball motion, and I keep telling him to straighten arm swing and stop chicken winging it. Any ideas for me to help him more?
Well, a lot of those times you do have the bowler that comes in and around. I always like to, try to advocate to keep the elbow in tight. Keep the elbow in tight. A lot of bowlers don't realize that when you're up to the foul line that they don't know that they have to keep their shoulder down. And when they keep the shoulder down, the head over the ball, that will keep the elbow in, hopefully, and keep the ball right up underneath their head and not be able to come around with their shoulders up high and pull this way to get around the ball. So really try to get your bowlers, may take them to the foul line. I'm a big coach on drills. Take them up to the foul line, maybe get down on one foot, get the balance position, and teach them to keep this in line with the head pin. It's keeping the elbow to the inside, and don't let this happen. So I know that's a lot of times what I see, AJ. That's a really good question.
That's a great question. Gary Bell says he struggles on wood lanes. I might be able to help you just a little bit with this one. What's my best choice for these lanes where the oil is only in the middle and it's gone by game 2? I have had a couple bowlers come in lately that have said that they're on wood lanes. There are a couple different variances, and obviously if they, we'll take one bowler in particular that had a lower end, again, another lower end reactive ball. He was really trying to get that ball to hook a lot because he was having such an issue with it not hooking, because when they're oily, they just don't move. Something like that, to me, there's a couple of, and yeah, I realize he said that he is best choice of ball is what he meant, but
right.
When you're doing that and you're going through some of those potentially bad habits to force the ball to start hooking more,
right.
You go into another ball, no matter what ball we put you in, you're going to be kind of gaining those bad habits, and that particular ball could end up potentially not even looking like it's the real ball, even until you go through a time period where you can actually get that swing to clear up a little bit and not try to get after it so much. Which I saw that with one or two of the bowlers that we've had come in lately, where they wanted something that'll still work for potentially some heavier oil, but also something that'll work for lighter oil. We went with a solid ball and just tried to keep a little bit of polish on it to try and help him get it down the lane and keep it smoother.
Yeah, keep it smoother.
But still get him some punch.
And this is on high friction surface, right?
Yeah, wood.
Yeah, we don't see very much of that these days.
Not very much. Yeah, so I think that we made the right direction of maybe going towards a solid, going towards even trying to keep the core just a little bigger at times, or taller, depending on what you're trying to get it after. But Gary, hopefully that kind of gave you some sort of conclusion towards the idea of what's going on there.
Good luck on the wood lane.
Yeah, wood can definitely be difficult no matter what ball we throw you in.
Yeah.
Some of it may even go back to just potentially trying to help get lined back up again. Especially if you do get a new ball and it's maybe, they're always going to out-hook whatever you have most of the time, especially if you've got an older one. I'll take, for instance, a freeze. A freeze will be the low-end rhino-type ball. It's gonna have more length and more hook down lane, but if you've got more oil up front, maybe you're trying to make the ball move more and you're just not trying to do the normalcies to the ball.
We're getting a little bit different. We're getting a little bit more upper level, which is great.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, more than what we've been talking about, but that's fine.
Gary said thanks. We have to keep our own score, too.
Oh yeah, sure do.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of like old school. I can remember go back to the days when I was in Omaha growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, I go back to the 60s when there was nothing but wood, and we could get the smell of lacquer. But hey, a lot of times that's for all of us old guys going back into those days when
Right.
the lanes were wood.
Right. All right, Coach. So is there anything else you'd like to add to the idea of what the beginner bowler you go through? Is there anything that you may feel like you want to kind of touch base with yet before we leave?
Yeah, and as a coach, my whole life, and all of you coaches to be or coaches now that want to get into the program, really incorporate getting these bowlers to join a league if we can. A lot of times they may not have the time to come in and be in a league, but get into a good relationship with your pro shop. I've always tried to have a really working relationship with AJ or Mike in our city here to acclimate them to want to really have fun, but be organized if they want to, and get it into a lifetime sport, because we can bowl forever.
No doubt. I know locally, John Summer is a real big participant in, and not every area has this, it was very new to me coming into the area a few years back, is that he will give every bowler a free T-zone if they are a new league bowler. And then obviously like the rhinos or the nitruses,
right.
Those are upgraded, price range deals that they pay for.
Right.
But it's a real minimal charge for somebody that's just coming into
yeah.
the game. I mean, it's crazy that he's able to do that. I've never seen it.
In Rockford, this is an amazing city. When I moved here to coach in the local area with Mr. Summers bowling centers, and when I heard this was just blew my mind that to look at that, joining a league and getting a ball. What I try to do is to get these bowlers on the lanes and let them see what's supposed to happen. There's such a big group of junior bowlers here in Rockford. I mean, maybe 200, junior bowlers. That's a lot in bowling centers in town. So that's what we look at here in Rockford. Very fortunate to have a junior league base this big.
Definitely. I would say that next week our tips and topics will probably start gearing towards the next range of bowler. The advanced bowler, starting out at the entry level, and then maybe describe a few more options, along that range. Probably also touch base with the packages idea, because that also gets the bowler involved with something that they can get, they can carry with the bag, and they get their own shoes. They don't have to rent the house shoes anymore.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah. But we will come back with you next week, live again, for tips and topics of the week at 9 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday. And we look forward to having you guys tune in. This was a blast, and we enjoy doing this, and we're looking forward to next week.
Looking forward to it. See you next week.